Today's video, we are going to be breaking down what you didn't know about your coaching staff in Madden 22. After this video is over, you're going to know everything there is to know about the coaching staff, and you're going to have the best coaching staff in the entire Solaverse. So the first thing we're going to talk about is why there's never a reason to fire your head coach over schemes and playbooks by itself. Okay, and it's different whether you're in owner mode or coach mode, and we'll touch base on that in the future. When it comes to your coordinators, your defense coordinator, your offensive coordinator, because you could kind of do some different things with their schemes and stuff that people don't really understand, and that'll be on our list. However, there's really no good reason to fire your head coach if you're in owner mode. If you're in coach mode, obviously you set your own schemes, but it's the same way. If you're in owner mode, you can change your head coach's scheme. So this also applies if you're in the hiring process of a head coach. So I shouldn't go to my franchise staff actually, but just in case most of you guys don't know this, which most of you by this time do, and we're getting out the baby stuff first. And if you are a beginner, don't worry. You'll be, after this video, you're going to know everything. So yeah, you could change it all from that page there, from the team schemes page on your staff. That is the first one. Very simple. You really don't want to be firing your head coach because the schemes and playbooks suck, unless you're just trying to be really realistic and you don't want to change their playbooks and schemes. That's something that's different. However, coaches adapt over time depending on the team and the players that they do have. So take that into consideration if you plan on doing a more realistic build. And at number 2, you are able to cheat staff points in Madden 22. Now, we're not going to jump into this and really talk about this due to us already having a video and an article on this topic, which the video will pop up in the top right corner of your screen. You'll be able to click on that. Make sure to watch it after this video, because this video is going to give you a lot of knowledge, and then that video is just going to touch base and put you even further into the knowledge category of staff points. At number 3, your head coach's talent tree can be reset in owner mode. Okay, so keep this in mind. If you're not in owner mode, then you will want to make sure that you are filling out your talent tree correctly
Look, I'm a little more complex than you guys.
The first time, and that is something you will want to make sure that you're doing. We have a video and an article on it. Master the coaching tree in Madden 22. Okay, you can see the video. The video will pop up in the top right corner of your screen. However, let's say you have Bruce Arians here. The easy way to do this is to fire him as your head coach, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Let's say I'm going to get rid of Bob Bates, my offensive coordinator. So I fire Bob Bates here. I'm going to fire Bruce Arians. And then what I'm going to do is hire an offensive coordinator. I'm going to go to the left right here, and I'm going to hire Bruce Arians. So once you fired your head coach, you can hire your head coach, which would be crazy that Bruce Arians would do this. But anyways, you can do this. I can hire Bruce Arians as offensive coordinator. Did you see what happened to his talent tree? Now I can fire Bruce Arians. And be like, oh, now you're fired again, and say, okay, I actually want to hire you as a head coach. And then now you can see that his talent tree is reset. Also, you want to make sure that you're doing this with someone who's either, you really, really like, or someone who's young and you just don't like the way their talent tree is going, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to see this side. I want to go this side because it's very important. Then keep this in mind. So moving on. All right, what are we on? Oh, we're on number 4. This one's amazing. Not upgrading your head coach's talent tree first is killing your gains. Upgrading your coach's talent tree first is the smartest option. Players will earn more XP from the player growth tree, which is right here to your left. Okay, and you can see it here. XP 10%, XP 20%, XP 10%, 20%, 10%, 20%. You get the gist. Okay, XP turns players better. Better players means a better team. Better team means Super Bowl rings, baby. Okay, on staff modification tree, you do not need to upgrade everything fully to get the best upgrade, which is the after-school tutoring upgrade. Okay, getting this one here gives you access to additional focused player through weekly training. So once you get this up, you start out with 3. Once you get this up, you'll get 6. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I got to upgrade this, each one of these because like maybe their OCD kicks in or something like that. No, that's not the truth. Okay, you just have to do 1, and then you can move on. Ooh, another one. Ooh, and you get the gist. And the same thing on this side here, and then you can do it. So upgrade your head coach. I mean, fully upgrading that 3 players to weekly training can help your franchise a lot. These players will grow much faster, and you will double the production of how many players you give this benefit to. A lot of Madden players will try to do a balanced strategy where each coach gets a slight piece of the old pie, and this isn't going to do you any justice compared to maximizing your general right from the gate. All right, which one are we on now? We're on number 5. There's zero reason to not have the right coordinators for the job in coach mode, okay, and in owner mode, but this is particularly to coach mode because of the fact that the offensive defensive coordinator, their schemes cannot be changed in coach mode because you're the head coach, and we'll go over the owner mode, how it changes in the next one here. The scheme is very important. It is more important than the playbook the coordinator runs. So if you're going to choose an offensive coordinator, obviously you want to go with the scheme. And if you can't find the scheme, then the second best thing is go, okay, I need to look for a guy who has the same playbook. Okay, because your scheme and your playbook should be roughly close together. There's a little bit of customization you can do. However, for the most part, they should be somewhat similar. Okay, and if you can't find a guy and you just pick a guy, it's not the end of the world. You'll still be fine and can still be very successful. If you're in user play, you really don't have to worry about it all that much in general. However, let's go over the big things that you need to really understand about the offensive coordinator. Is that there are some schemes that are harder to find, such as the pistol, air raid, West Coast spread, and spread. The easiest ones to find that you're going to find the most of is the multiple power run, the multiple zone run, West Coast power run, vertical zone run, and power zone run. Okay, and you'll be able to go through your list. Now, some years you're going to come across and find 2 guys that have a spread. One year you'll be like, man, I only find 1 guy who has a vertical zone run. You know, this isn't a set in stone. I'm just saying you're going to, in general, find less of the spread, even though there's 2 guys here. There's Kelly and then the other guy who's up there too. You're going to find just less of certain ones and more of other ones. So keep that in mind. That is something that's huge. Now let's move on to the good one that I really like, which is number 6. All right, this moves on to our most favorite, which is not changing your coordinators' playbooks and schemes before hiring them in owner mode. If you're in an all-user league, then you want to wait until the end because you're going to be firing your head coach. Okay, and if you want your head coach back, if he's really good, let's say you have Bruce Arians or you have another coach and he's fully upgraded, his tier tree or his talent tree is fully upgraded and he's a beast, you don't want someone to steal your head coach. And the one good thing about this is people are going to be moving quickly in an all-user league to try and get these guys as fast as possible because they want the best offense coordinator, the best defense coordinator that fit their schemes. Well, you don't really have to worry about that as much, okay? You really don't. So what I would do is I'd fire my head coach. Don't worry, you can hire him back again. And let's say, I want to look at an offensive coordinator. So I see an offense coordinator. I'm going to look at him before I fire my head coach and say, okay, I'm going to pick Kyle Shanahan. I'm going to pick somebody. I don't know. Let's go with an easy guy here. Let's go with Todd Waters. Okay, so I know I'm going to pick up Todd Waters, and that's who I want. So I'm going to go to my head coach, act like I'm hiring a head coach. Okay, and I'm going to go to Todd Walters. I said Waters. Anyways, I'm hiring Todd as my head coach. Okay, so I hired him as my head coach. Now, this is another way to reset an offensive coordinator's entire staff talent tree as well. They have that little fancy thing where you could go in and reset a certain something for 1,000,000 points, and you don't even need to do that. Okay, you really don't. You should never be resetting a guy's talent tree unless you made a mistake of some sort. Okay, you really shouldn't have to do that. So right here, now I can change his schemes because he's the head coach. I can change it to whatever he wants. Let's say I'll say, okay, I want to spread. I'm going to do Tampa 2. I'm going to do Jacksonville and New York Jets, whatever. Okay, I'm going to move them out. And then, you just fill in the blanks at this moment in time. I'm going to go to my franchise staff here, and I'm going to fire him. All right, so I fired him. Now I'm going to hire the offense coordinator. He'll be at the very end of the list, just like Bruce Arians. Whoever you fire, they're at the very end. So all you have to do is scroll left, and then you'll go far right. Okay, Now I can hire him. As you can see, his offensive scheme is different. Spread, Tampa 2, blah, 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 blah. This also resets his entire talent tree. And then you can go back to hiring your head coach and bring him on and then change him up, blah, blah, blah. And this will give you a clean slate to be able to have the guys that you really want. You can do the same thing with your defensive coordinator. So keep this in mind, guys. There's no reason to have to struggle with these. And if you have enough staff points and you're like, man, I'm loaded with staff points in the future, 5-10 years down the road in your franchise, I mean, there's no reason to jump the gun and try to be first. It's just like, hey, I'm going to let everyone else do it, and then I'm going to just get the guy that I want, change his schemes and playbooks. All right, this brings us to number 7. Not taking advantage of coordinators with several upgrades already when you first start. Okay, so we showed you this process here. When you're first starting out on a rebuild, if you want to grind through it and do what we did here and change them and then have no talent trees, but you have your best schemes and playbooks, that's fine. You can do that. But if you maybe aren't as talented in playing Madden, or maybe, you're doing a simulation, you want to kind of go through things a little bit better right in the beginning, make it a little easier on you instead of starting from scratch right on the baseline. You want to choose a guy and be like, all right, I'm going to choose a guy with the ultimate, best talent tree that I can find, just to try and help me as much as possible right out of the gate. Maybe something like this. You can't get Joe Judge. More than likely you can't. But Jay Gordon here, or Jay Gordon, sorry, I'm screwing up all the names. But you can look to bring on a guy like this maybe and say, hey, he's going to help me a little bit. And this is also good with head coach, because if you find a head coach and you're like, man, he gets me a lot more XP, I'm getting 20% XP, something like that. It's just something to keep in mind. And we're giving you different avenues on how to succeed in Madden. Okay, so there's multiple different things. You can start out blank canvas, put all these guys to exactly how you want them, change their schemes and playbooks, start from the beginning. You got the next 10 years or so with the best guys possible. And then that works for you. Or you say, hey, I'm going to try to find the best guy possible, like Michael Gray here, that has the most talent tree that I have. He's close to my schemes and playbooks, and then go from there. Okay, and then you're going to fire him in 5 years just to reset a guy, have him perfect, because you have the staff points to do it. Okay, and let's move on to number 8. Okay, if you are user playing, then schemes really don't matter so much. Okay, talent tree upgrades do. That's what you really want to understand is, yeah, your schemes do play a part, but if you could have whatever scheme, whatever playbook, and you just make sure they all match and stuff like that, then it doesn't matter if you're the one calling the plays, you're the one playing. It's going to be a lot easier. You want to have the thought process and the motto of what can you give me right now. User playing is different beast, needs to be thought of as such. I'd rather have a boost run block power for offensive linemen by 3 over nothing at all. Okay, because it's just helping you user play better. That's really how you want to think of it if you're user playing. And if you're very, very talented at the game, you have a little bit more leeway.
I'm in a hearse on. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives. You create